Hello and welcome to the Simply Smart Business Podcast. I'm your host, Nicki Ong, and I'm absolutely delighted to have Amy from Amy Time here with us today. She's a Pinterest marketing expert and consultant at Amy Time, her own business. And we are going to be talking about so many amazing things with Amy. I'm just so excited for this conversation. We're going to talk about sustainability and mental health when it comes to your marketing, which is a totally different take and yet so important. So hello and welcome, Amy. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Nikki. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I have been so excited to chat with you, not only because SEO and Pinterest are like a match made in heaven, like we've talked about, but just because I think what you're doing and your business is so incredible. So I always like to start with the journey because I think the story is so cool. So take us back. How did you get into Pinterest? How did you start your own business? What's your story?
Well, it's quite a story, but yeah, thank you. It's so funny because there's a lot of people that they join you at different points in your journey, right? And they see you and they see this big business that you have today, and you're like, well, no, let's go back to the beginning because it
Yes.
wasn't always looking or feeling the way that it does today. So basically, I was in a job that I absolutely loved. I'd had that job almost 10 years, and I thought that I was about to get promoted. And I went into the conversation really expecting to get promoted. And in fact, they were like, we no longer need you. And I
Oh,
drove home and I cried the entire way home. And I opened up my rickety old laptop and I Googled how to work from home with no experience. Because at the time, you're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what else I can do. And honestly, I was at a certain age where I felt like maybe I was like aging out of things. Never thought about starting my own business ever. To be honest, I
mhm,
didn't know many people that had started their own business outside of like, a friend that was like an electrician or something. So
mhm, mhm.
this whole idea seemed crazy to me. And then I started finding out about being a virtual assistant, getting into social media management and Pinterest management. And Pinterest just stood out to me right away. I was like, are you kidding me? I could get paid to work on Pinterest? Is this a joke?
Mhm.
And so I started to take all the classes that I could. And one of the best advice I was given was to write a list of business owners that you do know and
Mhm.
just see if there was an interest. And so I started to network within my immediate network and realized that there was definitely a need for this. And so I started doing both initially. And then Pinterest just became my most requested service because nobody else was offering it, nobody else was doing it. And people
Mhm.
now, I'm going to be almost 4 years now. Yeah, in the fall, it'll be 4 years.
Amazing.
People still don't, there's like, I don't get it. Like, I still don't get what you
Yeah.
do. Like, you
Yeah.
just scroll on Pinterest. I'm like, no, I guarantee that the pins actually get found and seen. So yeah,
Mm.
it's not what how it is today is not how it started. So I started in 2021 and then I went all in on Pinterest and just honestly over the years working with my clients, that's how my offers have evolved to really learn how best to serve them, how what they need the most.
Mhm.
Because as much as I love full service management, right? It's completely hands off. I handle everything. That's an expense. And to outsource that is not realistic for every business owner, depending on where they're at in their journey. So I really have quite a large portion of my business that's dedicated to helping small business owners also get a seat at the table. Because I believe that every business should be on Pinterest. So I try and make
Mm.
sure that I have a number of offers within my offer suite that really help meet them where they're at and with their
Mhm.
budget. So and then eventually, we grow the business and then they can fully outsource.
Amazing. I love that. And I feel like Pinterest is sort of this unsung hero, right? Because Instagram and even TikTok and Facebook sort of get all the glory to a certain extent, and even LinkedIn. But I feel like Pinterest kind of goes by the wayside for a lot of businesses. So something I hear a lot is, well, Pinterest may not be for me. My audience may not be here. So do you hear that a lot too from
Yeah,
clients or potential clients?
all the time. People are like, I
Mm.
really like would my business work on there? Like, have you seen other stuff like my business? And honestly, my first thing is like just open it up and take a look. Like honestly,
Yeah.
it's a search engine. Just search and see what your competitors on there. Honestly, I just reached out to a rather large brand last week and I just said to them, I'm not sure if you're aware, but your competitor is absolutely crushing it on Pinterest and you have no presence at all. And they responded and they said, oh my goodness, they have 340 followers and yet they have millions of views a month. Like people don't realize that it's not like other platforms and that it's not dependent on the amount of followers. So then they were like, yeah, okay, let's talk.
Okay. I saw this post of yours celebrating this and I wanted to bring it up. So I'm so glad that you did because I was so excited for you. Can you speak to that a little bit, like reaching out proactively to brands? Because I think as other business owners are thinking about this, they might be used to that hard sell or that cold sell sometimes that we have to do if we're not getting, the word of mouth. But that was just such an amazing strategy to reach out to them that way.
Thank you. It takes a while to get there. I'm just going to be honest, right?
Yeah.
We sometimes hear that and we get very intimidated and we think, I don't even know the first steps of how to get out there. And again, like with everything in my business, it's taken time to get to this level. I think there was a huge shift for me when I had my website launch and my rebrand, because that really, honestly, my brand designer had more confidence in me than I had in myself. So just having her create this brand around how she saw me, and I was like, really? I am that person? Okay. So absolutely, I think you could speak to the testament of having a website that really represents you. Because that's something that you can refer people to. That's something that you can show your testimonials to. I'm working on a LinkedIn presence. One of my recent wins did come just straight through a LinkedIn DM. It was a marketing firm that had, because it was a search engine, had searched Pinterest marketing expert. They DM'd me and said, hey, we need you to come consult. Are you available? And put a little proposal package together with a portfolio. And yeah, I think sometimes it's being brave when you don't really be brave. And also, like I said, that initial advice of just think about business owners that you know or other women in business. I love to work with other female founders, but also just women in business in general. We don't need to only work with business owners. We could know actually someone who works at a certain brand that you could connect with. Also, a piece of advice I was given recently, which I really took to heart, but I've been doing it all along, is don't stop talking about it. People don't know that you're looking for the next opportunity unless you tell them. Just continue to talk about it, continue to put it out there, continue to tell people what it is that you're offering or who it is that you're looking for. I just went to a networking meeting in person where they said, okay, don't just tell us I'm here to work with business owners. Give us a specific thing or a specific person this week that you're searching for, because that helps the rest of us keep you top of mind to refer you. For example, there was a chiropractor there, and we had just had the Charleston Ravenel Bridge run, which is a huge thing, people coming from all the country to run the bridge run. And so the chiropractor said, this week I'm looking for people who did the bridge run and they're still hurting. Any of your
Brilliant.
and you're like, oh yeah, I know my friends that ran the bridge. Oh, and they're still hurting. Great. Go to the chiropractor. Like, it was a way to keep you top of mind. So I think it's a combination of things to answer your question. To continue to be brave, right? Can you remember your worth, remember how much you help and how much you can really make a difference to these companies. And also just one person. It just takes one person. Just think of one connection that you have, and things will always snowball from there. And honestly, usually the first one is the hardest, right? It takes 100 phone calls for one person to pick up. It takes 100 more for that one person to actually say yes. So you just have to keep going. I can talk about plenty of failures, right? Like I had this great idea last year and I was like, okay, I'm going to email all of these people in this particular industry. This should just be an absolute winner. And I put together all of my favorite results and testimonials, and I did this whole spreadsheet and tracker and all the things. I sent 50 emails, Nikki. I got one email back. Do you know how depressed I was? I was like,
those cold emails are tough. And you're right. You have to bite the bullet and be brave, and just that consistency and doing it a little bit every day. It really takes the edge off to know that you're going to hear no's. It's going to happen. And then you're going to get the yes. And that's going to be all worth it.
And when they start coming, you get the first yes, and then the others start to come. And then before you know it, you're the one having to say no because you're trying to schedule everything in. And you're like,
yes.
If anyone listening is still not in that yes phase, keep working. It is coming. It's absolutely coming, but you can't stop. You have to keep going.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So tell me a little bit more, because I'm really excited about this, the sustainability and how that plays into mental health and how all that plays into marketing.
Yeah, so one reason that I really love to promote Pinterest and to encourage all small business owners to consider Pinterest in their marketing is the effect on our mental health. There's no doubt that as a small business owner, when we're trying to grow, we are the one person doing it all, right? And we start to see everybody else getting this success, and we start to say, wow, they just went viral one time and it changed their entire business. And so we're hustling and we're spending hours and hours coming up with the next content idea and making sure that we're on every single platform, and we're exhausted and we burn out. And we keep wondering, why is it working for everybody else and yet not me? And Pinterest is not really a social media platform. We kind of put it under that umbrella, but it isn't really. It's a visual search engine. So just from a time perspective, when you post a pin, it will last for months up to years to come. So when we go and search for our next dinner recipe for some chicken we've got left over in the freezer that we need to use, that most popular pin has probably been pinned years ago, and it continues to drive significant traffic to that blog. So we're going to waste all this time every week stressing about dancing and pointing and reels and all this kind of stuff for it barely to get seen to, what, 10% of your audience, and then even less for them to actually engage with it, and then it's gone. We work on these story strategies, then, okay, we're going to post this on this day, and then we're going to link it, and then that's going to get my next sale. It lasts 24 hours and then it's gone. And again, how many people actually saw it? So when it comes to Pinterest, because of the search engine piece, when you know what keywords that you're trying to target, we could actually pin the same pin, but use different keywords in the pin title and description. I'm trying to not hate it too much, but we could use the same pin to target different audiences. And then we start to learn, okay, well, which audience did we target and which audience is the most engaged? So it's much more reliable data as well that's coming in, because Pinterest analytics, you get impressions, which is just how many times it was seen, right? And again, think about yourself as a Pinterest user scrolling on the app. Okay, the pins are coming up. That's an impression that it was getting seen. A pin click is, again, the pins are pretty small if you're just searching on your phone, but you've clicked on it and it kind of takes up the full screen. That's a pin click. And then the outbound click is when the person goes, yeah, that's the one I want. And they click all the way out to the blog post or the item that they're trying to purchase, or to download your freebie, listen to your podcast episode, whatever that thing is. So when you get that data every month, you can look at the last 30 days, 60 days, whatever custom range you want. We get to learn how your audience, which is not followers, because it's not dependent on followers, but how your audience is really engaging with your content compared to other platforms where things go viral for no reason at all, right? Like I keep saying, things that go viral have my grandmother in them. I love her, but that has nothing to do with my business. It's so hard to crack this algorithm that keeps changing, and people take this so personally, understandably, right? Like business owners need the next sale, like they are dependent on making that next sale and getting that next client, and constantly slaving for an algorithm that is constantly changing. And then you're getting all these gurus and advice, whoever that's doing these crazy reels telling you you need to post every day and you need to do more, and you've got to show your face, you got to show up all the time. I'm exhausted. I don't want to wear makeup every day on stories. I don't want to show up every day. And Pinterest doesn't require that. There's no stories technically. There's not really DMs. Some people could message you, but they don't. That's just not the user experience. They don't really comment, so you don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to worry about engaging with other people's accounts to then get them to come see your account. Again, it's not about growing followers. So there's so many reasons why it is just a much more enjoyable platform. You could schedule out your content a month in advance. You don't even have to look at your analytics. You don't even have to look if you don't want to, right? Because some people feel really attached. They work so hard on a reel. I love Instagram, but we have to be honest. They work so hard on a reel and then it never even gets seen. And then they're so because they work so hard on that. Just the pressure to show up, the pressure to see everybody else. On Pinterest, you don't ever have to see your competitor. That's one major win. But also Pinterest as an organization, their biggest message is that they want it to continue to be the most positive place on the internet. And so from top down, CEO all the way down, they are really pushing to maintain that positivity on the platform. So for us as marketers, they encourage us to consider that in our messaging, consider that in the pins that we are designing, think about that user experience, but also they have guidelines in place to make sure that it maintains that. So they really are limiting and restricting certain content to make sure that we maintain that safe place, you know, especially we think about our younger generation. So there's a number of reasons. I could literally talk all day about Pinterest, but yeah, compared to the other apps, it's the one for me. It's the top one for me.
That's amazing. I didn't know that about the positive culture there. I mean, I definitely see that now, kind of basing my experience on that, but I had no idea. That's incredible.
Yeah, so actually 8 in 10 people come to Pinterest to feel positive and do feel positive after scrolling on Pinterest.
Yeah.
And yet the
Yeah, I
number
mean,
for the other apps, you don't want.
no, I can only imagine because you just feel that drain after you use them, right? It's that doom scroll. But with Pinterest, it's like, okay, I'm looking for a fun outfit inspiration or what to make for my next meal or looking for something in business. And it absolutely gives you that positive feeling. That is so amazing. So
Yeah,
it all feeds into that mental health piece.
exactly. It's a place to be inspired. It's a place to go for ideas, but it's also a safe place because there are people that are coming to scroll and then they're creating these little boards. But again, the boards that they're creating and they're pinning inspiration for change. And that's so fascinating when you like from my end as the marketing piece, it's all about meeting the user where they're at. And so again, so we can learn, we can save this for later if you want, but certain brands that are seeing huge success marketing on Pinterest are learning to meet the Pinterest user in certain life moments. So we get to learn that the pinner is now designing a nursery. So we have a particular product that sure, it would do well in a living room, it would do well in a study, but now we know that they're planning for a baby. So actually, let's promote that product within a nursery setting and then we'll get that sale. There's also, we can learn about their style, right? Like the style of the nursery. I have a lot of friends that are having babies right now, which is why I'm talking about nurseries, not myself.
Yeah.
But perhaps we know that they're more of a minimalist style because we know the other things that they're pinning, or perhaps they're more maximalist style, or perhaps they love leopard print, perhaps they love, right? So there are ways that we can, again, edit the pins and from the design perspective so that we're reaching them where they're at and the things that that they're already interested in and inspired by.
That's so fascinating. And I didn't even realize that you can get that much information from Pinterest. That's so cool. So from your customer standpoint, when they come to you, do they tend to have more difficulty from just a general content creation side of things? Like what in the world do we pin about? Or is it more design or content as far as
Yeah,
the description?
the number one question is obviously like, will my business do well on Pinterest? And then they go, well, what on earth am I putting on Pinterest? And that has become my sweet spot because I could look at a business and go, beep, 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 beep. And that's how my baby management offer came out because that was the hardest thing for people was just to wrap their head around, okay, how do I take the stuff on my site, the content I'm putting on other platforms, my newsletter, my podcast, my YouTube videos, whatever it is, how do I then put that into a pin plan? That's my favorite part. The biggest thing that people don't realize is how much they can repurpose content. They do not need to be a content creation machine. They do not even need to continue to put out a lot of new content. The biggest sigh of relief comes when I go, don't worry, we've already got so much to work with. Like you can chill actually. Let me take the reins on Pinterest and you can chill for a minute. So
Love that.
just again because of the age, right? Like it doesn't matter how long ago this was. We could continue to pin to a blog post that was 8 years old. Like nobody knows that. We can create new pins. There's no limit to the amount of pins that we could create. So yeah, it's really understanding again what is the goal. The biggest thing you need to start with in designing any pin, and I don't just mean from a pin graphic design, but the whole plan is always my biggest winner is to get you the most outbound clicks, right? I just want you to make the most impressions. I want people to be taking action and get those actual clicks to your site. So what are those outbound clicks going to? Like, what's the end goal? Are we trying to grow your email list? Are we trying to increase your podcast views? Are we trying to sell a certain product? Are we trying to get people into an evergreen course, membership? Get them to read a blog post, whatever that is. What's the end goal initially? And then how do we work back from that? So I think people just don't realize how much they could repurpose that content. We often say repurposing as in like, oh, for example, this podcast, well,
Hmm.
write an email about it, write a blog post about it, make an Instagram carousel and a reel, and then do a couple pins. But actually, within one piece of content, within one blog post, we could make so many pins from that, or
Hmm.
one product, we could create so many pins to direct traffic to that one product. So, yeah, that's my favorite thing to do, honestly, and really simplify it. I think when I started my baby management offer, I was trying to get them to like just get it all on there. And then I realized actually I'm in month 4 of it now because we launched at the beginning of the year. The simpler the better. Because again, going back to people's mental health, like that's what they're going to enjoy the most. And when it's simple and we're just making small tweaks, we can really learn from the data of what the difference between this one and that one and what was working.
Hmm.
It's less overwhelming. So yeah, when it's my full management clients, I go all in. And my baby management clients, we try and keep it a little bit simple.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I'm all about here is simple because I see the same things. People try to do every platform under the sun, then
Yeah.
that's the whole job. They're burnt out, they're over it, and then they end up quitting everything. And like we talked about before, consistency is everything. And
It is.
so for Pinterest though, it sounds like, do you find that clients have to have another supporting platform? Like, do they have to have a blog? Do they have to have a podcast? Or could they just have products on a website and that would be just fine?
So most of my clients think that they need to be in all the places and they
Hmm.
don't. So they love to hear that, but they don't. You could solely just have a website. You could solely just have a website that you're selling products. Actually, for anyone listening that does have products to sell, if you can become a verified merchant, this is a program within Pinterest where you get that little blue certified tick. There's 2 main requirements. It's having a Pinterest business account for a certain amount of months and having your domain for a certain amount of months. But typically, when you sign up for your Pinterest business account, they'll alert you and be like, we think you might qualify, you should join. The
Hmm.
people that have uploaded their catalog and become verified get over 5 times the amount of impressions than other accounts do. So, anybody that has products to sell, please consider joining the Verified Merchant Program. It's completely free. Pinterest does not take a cut. I hear that all the time. Well, what's the cut? There is no cut.
Because every other platform you have to pay for the blue verified sign.
Yeah, it's completely free. I should probably talk about this more. But also, if anyone is hosting their site on Shopify, it will integrate and it will upload their catalog regularly. And it will also create pins for them that will be like, okay,
Mm.
here's this product. And it will say, it will update if there was like a sale, if there's like a certain amount in stock, things like that. So that's a wonderful thing if you have products to sell. You do not need to have a blog. You do not need to worry about Instagram. You do not need to back it up with all these other things. The podcast stuff is really interesting because I think, again, with the longevity of pins that we've made 4 years ago are going to continue to get you listens. Our podcast episode that, to be honest, 1 week and you're done, right? And then if
Absolutely.
you want to talk about that again on Instagram, people are like, yeah, right, girl, we heard you. Like, how many times can you clip from the same podcast, right?
Right.
Potentially every pin is going out to someone totally new because it's not your
Mhm.
following. And again, people don't think about yourself when you're scrolling on Pinterest. When was the last time you found a pin and you went, let me look at their profile, let me go through all of their boards? You don't. It's just not the
Mhm.
same as using other platforms. So you could potentially reach a new audience with every single pin.
Absolutely. Yeah, I need to be better about Pinterest, and this is a good reminder for me as well that everything needs to go up there. But I do like to repurpose a lot of my content to and including it's been the best way for me to add to my email list, I found. So I had a great performing pin for a freebie I did years and years ago, and I put just a small amount of money. I pay like $1 a day for the ads for it, and it's continuing to grow my list in a crazy, crazy way. So do you handle any ads yourself as well, or do you just handle organic?
Everything so far has been organic, but
Okay.
that is my goal this year is to add on ads. I'm actually
That,
going to run ads myself. So Pinterest started a couple years ago. They started doing little certifications for us, which is really fun. There's like Pinterest specific education, and then they have certification. So I got my ad certification, but right now, again, most of my audience are my smaller business owners that the thought of spending ads is just like, say the fact that you're just
understandable.
$1 a day, I'm like, yeah. I love that my results have come from purely organic. I have certain clients that in the past have run ads not through me, before me, and their organic pins were getting them way more traffic. But speaking to ads, they changed something last year that I hope your audience will, if they want to run ads, they'll consider. And it's called Performance Plus. And this is basically what I was talking about before in terms of adjusting things with that nursery, like who we could target differently. Performance Plus, you literally toggle it on when you're running ads, and it will continue. It's basically AI that will continue to adjust who they're showing it to, but also adjust that background, right? And adjust promoting that, because no, we know she loves leopard print, or she loves plants, or she loves whatever it is, where they're getting the most success from. So Performance Plus is a really interesting thing for people to learn more about if they're considering doing ads.
Amazing. That's a great tip. Thank you for that. Coming up, I know that you've got your baby management offer and you've got the full-blown thing. Are there any new offers that you have coming out that you want to share with anybody?
Yeah, why not? Let's put it on here. Okay, so last week I actually just launched a custom ChatGPT prompt, which is shocking because I was so anti-AI. I just have to be honest, but you and I know, right? If someone's coming to you, you know right away if AI has written an entire blog post, and then they're not going to win on Google. Google's not going to like it. And so people are coming to me going, oh, I use AI to write my pin titles and descriptions. And yeah, I can tell. And the biggest issue is that they were never optimized and they didn't have their keywords in them. Keywords are literally the key to getting seen. So it was absolutely pointless, and it was driving me nuts because I would try and I would put it on, and then I'd be like, this is just a bunch of nonsense. And it just didn't, it just wasn't it.
Yeah.
And honestly, with my brain, I could actually type faster than it could come up with these results. And I knew that I was optimized and had all the keywords in all the right places. Well, I went to an AI masterclass last month and I got schooled. And very humbly, I came home and took the advice. And I thought, okay. And the main advice to me was, Amy, the input determines the output, but also you need to contribute to the change. So if there's something that you don't like see if you can change it. And so for the last month, I worked really hard on this prompt. So now I can create a custom prompt for each business owner. I created a month's worth of pin titles and descriptions in less than 5 minutes that is fully optimized and written the way I want it to be written. So just launch that for anyone who needs that, because
Amazing.
writing pin titles and descriptions is not always the most fun task. And I am about to launch Pin Club, which is a monthly membership for business owners who need support with Pinterest. And there will be monthly Q&A sessions and a monthly co-working session. So one of the biggest things I've noticed with my clients trying to DIY it, we all get stuck somewhere. We all know that we're supposed to do it. And it's just finding the time to just sit down and do it. And going on these other co-working sessions, for anyone who is neurodivergent, like just having this body doubling is so powerful. So they can come on the call and we initially will say, what are we working on? And then we do that 45-minute blast to work on it. And again, we could workshop together if it's pin titles and descriptions, if it's they need some design tweaks, things like that. So yeah, Pin Club is going to be launching. I don't have a date. I probably should have a date, but honestly, this has kind of taken me by surprise. I put in my email just 2 words about it, and I had 15 people sign up for it. And I said, okay,
Amazing.
it's time to go. So
That's incredible.
the launch is a little scrappy, but I don't know when this is coming out. But yeah, Pin Club is coming soon. So for anyone who just wants to come and join, and they'll get discounts to other things, and I'll continue to add more, education pieces through that. Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's the latest idea.
I love that so much. And you and I have talked a little bit about cyclicality and how interesting that is, either month to month or seasonally. And I notice that it's springtime and these new ideas are just popping up for you. So I feel like that's a big
Yes, and I
cue.
realized that it was the same thing for me last springtime. Not to get too personal, but basically winter was a rough one, and we lost so many family members. It was just back to back, just getting hit. And again,
So
that's
sorry.
why, yeah, thank you. It was tough. It really was tough. And again, scaling back, reminding myself of my why and why Pinterest, because Pinterest has continued to grow my business when I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't show up on other platforms, right? I couldn't show my face. I didn't want to show up. And that, if I'm feeling that way, I know my other clients are feeling the same way. This pressure, the changing climate that we're living through, like people are very overwhelmed. I serve a lot of moms. You guys are working really, really, really hard. Like it does not get easier, right? It doesn't.
Mm-mm.
Not just we like to say that it does, it doesn't. And so having a platform that can continue to drive traffic, like you're saying, into your funnel, growing your email list for you is a blessing without having to go, okay, let me put on some makeup and show up on stories for three people to see it.
Right, exactly. And I've talked with a lot of business owners who are frustrated about that very same thing, and they feel like they have to, like there's this pressure to have an Instagram account and the Twitter account sometimes, or X, whatever it is, Facebook, a blog, all the things, so that they can seem like the expert or the thought leader that they are, but they have to prove it to people first. So they have to be showing up and showing up consistently in all these places. So I think that's why it's brilliant to be able to use Pinterest to work for you and not have to fight the algorithm and be able to repurpose all that content that you're already creating.
Right. Pinterest, the algorithm makes sense. It's the algorithm that we think that we're engaging with on these other platforms. Pinterest takes a minute. It does take about 4 to 6 months for it to even like notice you. But every single time I could show you every single client result. And again, between that 4 to 6 months is just when it starts to skyrocket. They need you to be consistent. But once they really understand what content you're putting out and who we need to show that to, it just skyrockets. I have a client, I just reviewed her account on Thursday. She has a top performing pin from the last 30 days that is within 30 days, like we posted it within the last 30 days and it has immediately. Her second top performing pin of the last 30 days is 4 years old. The reason that is happening is because when, again, I train people how to not only work with evergreen content that is going to get you traffic in January and in July and in October, but Pinterest is quite based on seasonal trends as well. If you have a pin that performed really, really well in a particular season, Pinterest goes, we're gonna save that. And the next time that, for example, we're in Easter, her top performing pins was this year's Easter's content, but also 4 years ago Easter's content, because it remembered that was so valuable to our audience 4 years ago.
Amazing.
They circulated it again for her. So anyone who has seasonal based content, and you might not think that you do, right? You might think like, well, I don't sell anything that's related to that. There's a way, there's always a way. Yeah, so just, I mean, that's an algorithm that, it loves you, like it's loyalty for years to
Yes,
come.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's really, really, that's the cool stuff to see that she's literally getting thousands and thousands of hits to her site from one small pin that she posted 4 years ago. So
It's incredible. Incredible. Well, I think the biggest takeaway is definitely if you're not on Pinterest, then obviously you need to get on it. And if you need help, then Amy's your girl. So thank you so much for this, Amy. This has been so incredible. And thank you for sharing your expertise and your wisdom. I got so many good nuggets from this, and I know the audience did as well. What is the best way for our listeners to connect with you online?
Truthfully, connecting, I know it's terrible, but it is. I am the most unhinged myself on Instagram. So if you go on my stories every day, you will see my puppy, my garden.
Oh, they're so good. They're the best
So
stories.
it's amy.time_. That's my Instagram. But also, if you wanted to connect with work, just get through my website and you can see everything that is, all of my offers, the new offers I need to get on the site. But like I said, it's a little unhinged over here. We're doing the best we can.
I love it. Scrappy and making it work, and you're just real. That's one of my favorite things about you, is that you're a real person, and that's what you bring, is your authenticity. So I just love that about you. Do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners to leave them with?
I don't know why you asked me that, just made me really emotional. Just don't give up. You have no idea what's coming. You have no idea how good it can get, and just don't give up.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, Amy. And I'll, of course, include all the links in the show notes for anybody to connect with you. Thank you so much again. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. And please subscribe for more amazing conversations and actionable strategies to help you from the Simply Smart Business Podcast. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.